But first up, they call him the card mechanic. Richard Turner is one of the world's most prolific sleight of hand artists. Over his long career, he's dazzled audiences around the world, and in 2017 was the subject of a critically acclaimed documentary called Dealt.
A mechanic is somebody who can fix something. An auto mechanic fixes a car, a body mechanic is a professional killer. I'm a card mechanic, I can fix a card game.
Ace of cards, Richard Turner.
He can do things with cards no one else can do. He's a trickster.
He is demonstrating the moves used by cheaters, the most difficult things you can do with a deck of cards.
I represent why you should never play cards with strangers.
When I saw Richard Turner perform, I was in the presence of greatness.
About halfway through the show, you can see different members of the audience realize it. This guy can't see.
People have introduced me saying, oh, by the way, he's blind. What does that have to do with anything? I'm just Richard Turner. You can just introduce me as that.
The statement that can be made about magic is that there aren't as many limits as we generally think.
Don't let anyone tell you that it's impossible. I want to be known for what I do on its own merit because I don't consider myself disabled.
An international phenomenon, the man that has been behind a lot of card tricks that we just have to find out how did he do it. I am talking about the #1 and only Mr. Richard Turner.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and I'm honored to be here with such a lovely lady with a pretty name, Paliso.
Thank you so much,
It even
Richard.
rhymes, Paliso, pretty, pretty Paliso.
I love that. No, you seem to be definitely the man of so many talents. You seem to be good at almost anything and everything that you do. But starting off, I have to start with the cards.
Yes.
How did your love for magic and card games even begin for now you to be such an incredible man and ranked #1?
Yeah, I started off as a little boy watching the old cowboy westerns where there was always a scene where a gambler is getting shot for cheating. I played cards. I wanted to make sure I won, so I started figuring out ways. In 1975, I met a man named Professor Di Vernon. And at the time, he was considered the best in the world with a deck of cards.
Yeah.
And he was known as the man who fooled Houdini. And Houdini was a very famous escape artist.
Yes.
And it was 100 years ago this year, 1920, that he fooled Houdini. And he was known as the man who fooled Houdini. And he took a liking to me, and I became the recipient of a century worth of his most guarded card table techniques.
But I know that in that journey of you working very, very closely with him, he set you up for failure. He would give you tasks that were impossible.
That is exactly right. Because I couldn't see.
Yes.
I started losing my sight when I was 9.
You were 9, yeah.
Yes, and so because I couldn't see, he tricked me. He would describe the moves to me in the way he wished he could do them, moves that he literally spent 50 years trying to do, never accomplished. And then he'd say, Richard, feel my fingers, feel this is how it's done. And I believed it could be done, so I practiced thousands of hours, some moves 10,000s of hours. And then I'd go back and he'd go, that's it, that's perfect. And then it was only years later that he admitted to me that most of it, he made it up. He just wanted to see what the crazy kid would come up with.
And the crazy kid pulled it off after time, practice, dedication, commitment. I mean, for all of our viewers at home, if that is not a life lesson, I don't know what is. If you don't know already, Richard lost his eyesight at 9 years old. So everything that you've learned has just been through practice and touch.
Exactly, touch. And because my sight went, my fingers became more sensitive. And because I averaged practicing about 14 hours a day with the cards, 7 days a week, year after year, decade after decade, both of those hands enhanced each other. Sight, no distraction, fingers very sensitive, and then I'm working with things on a microscopic level.
Yes.
Like, I'll show you something.
Please do. I'm very excited to get into this because I have tried to figure out how you do such incredible work. I've watched so many YouTube videos, so I want to see if you're able to trick me today.
Okay.
And if I can find out what makes you the card mechanic.
Yes, and just to define it for the audience, a mechanic is somebody who can fix a card game. Magicians do tricks for the purpose of entertainment. A card mechanic is somebody who at a card table maneuvers the cards in such a way that they get the money. And those techniques are many, many times more difficult to develop.
Absolutely.
And you cannot use misdirection or anything else, because in a card game, if you try to say, look over here while you do something over here, bang! And I'm from Texas, and they pulled out guns.
I can only imagine if you're a gambler and you definitely have a lot of money in order and money at stake. A lot of people want you right next to them, helping them out.
I have offers in Sun City here, and I'm going to tell the story. I'm performing at Artscape.
Yes.
And I'm doing my full show, and this is about a 5-minute story of how I was stalked around the world by a diamond dealer out of South Africa, out of Sun City, who wanted me to play in these high-stake games with the diamond dealers to try to control who got the money, him and his partner, and he was offering me what would be, in your figure, millions in your money to do for my part.
I heard about that he, from stalking you on a plane to hotel rooms that you didn't even know you were going to be in. You'd find him.
There he'd be waiting for me.
Well, I think that says a lot about your talent and your skill. You are being headhunted across the world, so I need to get in on some of this action and find out how it all works.
Well, in a card game, first of all, you want to make sure the cards are evenly mixed. And in the casinos, they like the deck to be shuffled in about 15 to 17 seconds. So they will give the deck what's called a riffle shuffle. They do it twice. It's called riffle, riffle. And then they do what's called a strip cut, reversing the top and bottom halves of the cards, another riffle, and another cut. That's basic casino procedure. That took about 12 seconds. And the deck should be pretty evenly mixed. Let's take a little peeky and see how evenly mixed the deck is.
Perfect.
Do we have ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Are they perfect?
That's so scary. Yes, that's perfect.
I shuffled them into perfect order.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what I call an evenly mixed deck. Now watch, we're going to scramble them up face up so the audience can see. Because magicians have what are called shave cards where they're different sizes, and we're going to mess all that up.
Yes.
And I'm going to give this deck a quick shuffle.
I mean, for our viewers at home, that you are not here physically to see the incredible work that Richard is doing, but all of these cards are identical. All these cards are the same size, same shape. There's no way to tell them apart, really.
Yes, and now you shuffle.
Okay.
And you do it any way you know how. So the point, I can be very sneaky when I shuffle. Now we'll see what happens when you do the shuffle.
Let's even out the playing field and let me do some shuffling here.
Yes.
Viewers at home, you can really see I'm going for gold here. I am shuffling it up quite well. Here we go, Richard.
Very good. Side of my head. Perfect. Now, we're going to play a hand of poker, okay? And in poker games, well first of all, let's do something. They have what's called a wild card. Just cut the deck in half. Just cut off half.
Yes.
And they have what's called twos are wild. Other games, they'll just cut a deck, and that would be the wild card, just to make it more random. Just say any random number. 3, 4, 5, 7. Oh, 1, 2. What's that card?
It's a 1 of hearts.
That's a
Ace of hearts.
That's an ace?
Yes.
Okay. 1 of hearts. Okay, yeah.
Ace of hearts. Everyone at home, I am not much of a card person. I do not know much about this card life and card games. But what I do know are just the regular suits and the shapes.
Okay, now watch. I'm going to give this deck a shuffle. First, they cut the deck so that buries the top and bottom. Then they will shuffle them. And watch again. I'll cut the deck, burying the top and bottom halves of the deck, and I'm going to give them a shuffle. Now, did everything look legit?
Yes.
In a game, you would have thought everything was legitimate. Now they have what's called the cut. Now, I want you to see the card on top of the deck. What is that card?
A 5 of spades.
The 5 is on top. So the deck is cut, and the deck is no longer cut. The 5 is still on top.
How did you do that?
I'll show you. Watch again. I'll do it with the card face up. The deck is no longer cut. That's how fast I can uncut a deck of cards.
Okay. You know you're in South Africa, right? In South Africa, people are saying, they're going to think you're a witch doctor of some sort.
Yes, and I have my drums and my sticks. Okay, now we're going to put the deck on a card. They put a card on the bottom to pin the deck. Now, you watch me give the deck a shuffle. Now we're going to play a game of Texas Hold'em, the most popular poker game in the world. You pick a number of players, 5, 6, or 7.
5.
5 players. 1, 2, 3, keep my messes in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, burn. And we have what's called the flop. And what are those 3 cards?
It's a king, a 6, and an ace.
Okay, a burn and a turn, what's that?
An 8.
8, burn and a turn, what's that?
Ace.
Oh, 2 aces, and let's get rid of our burnt card. And you're my partner. You're sitting over here in hand number 4. Let's see if you have a good hand. What's that card?
An ace.
What's that card?
Ace.
4 aces.
Yeah.
You just whipped their heinies big time.
So I would have been a winner.
Yo, big time winner.
Where's my
You would have-
money?
Where is it? You forgot the bed.
I forgot to
You
bet.
forgot next time you.
That is miraculous.
Okay, now
That's scary.
Let's make sure they're all face down. Yes.
Yeah. Oh no.
Turn them all face down. I'll let you fix it.
Thank you.
That's your job.
That is so
The
scary.
easiest job.
That I can do.
Yeah.
Okay, there
now
we go.
square them
Put
up when you're done.
together.
Square them up when you're done.
Yes.
Now shuffle them up.
Okay. This is the last one, and then we have to go to ad break.
Yes,
Oh,
they're
so excited.
quickie.
Here's your...
Would you like me to cut one of your aces to the top of the deck, to the bottom of the deck, or right from the middle of the deck? You choose.
I'm all about being number 1 on top. So
You want me to cut a card to the top? I'll give the deck a triple cut. What is that?
Oh my gosh, how did you do that?
Do you want it top, bottom, or middle?
That's so scary.
Top, bottom, or middle, real quick.
Middle.
Right out of the middle. She wants it right out of the middle. I know we have to go to break, so I'm going to speed up the process. What are those 3 cards?
No ways! I quit.
Bingo!
That's so scary! How did you do that?
I don't know. I got lucky.
Oh,
we got lucky.
Thank you so much,
Oh,
Richard,
my
for blowing
pleasure.
my mind this Friday. If you did not think that your week could get even more spectacular, it being the end of the week, well, it just did. I have to go to ad break after this. So coming up after the break, I sit down with media personality Usechaba to talk about beauty, success, and family. Plus, the Cape Town Comedy Festival is kicking off this weekend. And coming up on the show, we meet some of the international stars. See you after the break. Oh, my goodness, Richard.